Some of you may know me from No Hit Jerome's community.
How the did you pull like 5 things like that, dude?
I
So he's
don't know,
getting
you
loot
saw
banned?
me. I'm not loot banning myself. I'm sorry, I'm not kicking myself either.
I hate my life, dude. My life is just.
I've had so much fun playing with him. But recently, there's one thing I've noticed that's just too strange to ignore. In almost every one of Jerome's streams, and now, even in his Discord's main chat, I keep seeing this mysterious poster. Lord Commander Zebek. I couldn't help myself, and I decided to investigate this character. What I stumbled upon might actually be the future of World of Warcraft. Lord Commander Zebek has posted a variety of videos over the course of 11 years, but his most recent 2 uploads are extremely interesting. It seems that Zebek has devoted weeks into solving Blizzard's latest mystery. What is Project Camelot? And the craziest part about this is, he actually solved it. Zebek clearly figured out what Project Camelot is. And I'm gonna show it to you.
Classic Plus might already be hiding in plain sight.
A realistic, sobering leap for Classic Plus.
And I'm starting every day to feel less and less like someone yelling at the sky that Classic Plus is coming.
Zebek has basically been schizo posting in chat for the last few days about this thing.
Lord Zebek's cryptic video begins with an image titled The Timeline. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain this giant mess of dates on your screen. This timeline basically proves that Blizzard started setting up Classic Plus years ago. In the top left corner, November 2022, before Metzen even had his desk back, developers dropped a massive lore hint by putting a hidden book inside the Oldemon dungeon that named a new continent called Avaloran. Avaloran will be extremely important throughout the rest of this video.
Champion.
The moment Metzen returned, the server logs spiked. Look at the blue dots tracking the network. Private test servers for an unannounced project code named Camelot instantly started moving. Now skip straight to the right side of the chart. Season of Discovery Phase 8. That's where they added a literal zone called New Avalon, alongside King Arthur weapon quests. This timeline from Zebek pretty much shows Blizzard ramping up to a permanent standalone client. Zebek's next slide is a series of 3 images titled Camelot Patch Flow. These images are automated server logs. The data from them shows exactly how Blizzard is overhauling the engine for Classic Plus. For a long time, developers were locked into version 1.14 to run basic Classic era and hardcore servers.
That hurt. Oh fuck. Oh shit.
Eventually, they moved up to version 1.15 to build the seasonal updates for Season of Discovery. But look at the massive version jump captured in these logs. Blizzard completely skipped normal progression numbers and leaped straight up to version 1.60. This data trail compiled by Zebek pretty much proves that they are building a permanent standalone architecture that is probably Camelot. Next image is essentially a massive collage summarization of all the Classic Plus happenings thus far. I want you to look at the official blue post highlighted on the left. The Classic development team openly admitted they are slowing down SOD to step into the kitchen and cook their next major project in the original WoW design space. They explicitly labeled Season of Discovery as an ephemeral season experience. That confirmation proves the entire server cycle served as a testing ground, okay? Now I want you to look at the top right image. Right after that announcement, you have Blizzard flying out Soda Poppin', Esfand, Zaryu, Savix, that other guy, for a closed door summit where they got NDAs. Look at the bottom right corner. In that screenshot, you can see them referencing Dark Age of Camelot, which is a different MMO, which is probably where the design philosophy for this new game is coming from. This franchise slate went extremely viral. I'm sure you've seen it before. This slate on its own is interesting, but when Zebek puts it side by side with this Twitter screenshot, it actually gets insane. Many skeptics thought that this was a total fake. They thought it was like a fake spreadsheet. But when you look at the Twitter screenshots, look at the timestamps on the left, the Algalan guy.
Algalan.
The top server log proves that Blizzard pushed the version 1.60 engine code to their developers all the way back in October 2025. Now, when you look at the data mining leak from June 2026 directly below it, the files were cracked open. That confirms that patch 1.60 is the exact Eternal Directory name for mainline Camelot. The server logs on your screen tie the version numbers directly to the League corporate slate. Pretty much what this means is that the roadmap that you're seeing is a completely authentic internal corporate image. It's pretty cool. What we are looking at now is the official Chronicles artwork. In that artwork, you can see Cthulhu, Yogg-Saron, N'Zoth, and Yasharaj. They're clearly labeled, okay? They're forming this like border. But if you look at the very top, right by that little question mark, okay, you can see this unfamiliar shadow creature. That little hidden silhouette ties directly into a massive narrative secret from 2006. During an in-game text update that year, a lore book quietly changed the official count of bound old gods beneath Azeroth from 4 to 5. For 20 years, that fifth entity remained a complete mystery, okay? This forgotten old god is perfectly positioned to serve as a villain for Classic Plus, maybe even the primary villain. Things are really starting to get interesting now when we look at these three distinct patch entries compiled by Zebek. Here we can see how Blizzard spent years building a narrative foundation specifically for an uncharted Western continent, Avaloran. First, looking at patch 10.0.2, we have an in-game wreckage report explicitly revealing that an entire Titan expeditionary fleet completely vanished trying to breach a hostile anti-Titan civilization named Avaloran. Surprise, surprise. Next, we have another entry from patch 10.2.0. This lore book details a courageous green dragon who defiled Keeper Tyr's direct warnings to not fly past the storming sea into that exact same uncharted western coordinate space. Now, finally, looking at patch 10.0.7, this item confirms that a legendary night elf pirate, okay, sailed his flagship directly west, okay, into those identical impossible tempests. It's very clear to me that this is a pattern, and these three completely different historical eras all point to one western direction. It's clear to me that west is where we're headed for Camelot. The Arathi Empire in Hollowfall. Now, this is an extremely interesting speculation from Lord Commander Zebek here. Here he claims that Blizzard is setting up the Arathi Empire, a massive civilization of ancient humans and high elves. They're mixed race, flourishing across the mysterious western storming sea. The records verify that they possess an advanced armada of massive airships and unique holy fire magic. Taking a look at Phase 8 of Season of Discovery, here you have Zebek discussing Caladbaldor and its flavor text, The Sword and the Stone. Here, I think Zebek is making the point that these names provide concrete evidence. Okay, Avalon is the legendary island tied entirely to Arthurian mythology in Camelot. And here in Phase 8, you can see the developers using the Scarlet Crusade to test an advanced Arthurian framework. Okay, Zebek even speculates that they'll be introducing light dragonkin instead of an elemental dragon, a light wielding dragonkin, and running systems tied to a mysterious East Sea power. Here you can see Mason the Echo saying, "The East Sea grants me strength," which is interesting. If you made it this far into this presentation, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to reward you, because this slide drops the absolute best leak we have ever seen for Classic Plus. Now listen, this is from Camelot itself. Community tracking caught Blizzard silently changing the ocean boundaries right next to Zalaman. On the active anniversary progression realms, Zalaman is locked behind a future expansion phase. We're only in phase 2. But in this leaked version 1.60, Blizzard renamed that empty space the Forbidding Sea. They injected a massive blank map frame into the game code meant to hold a giant new oceanic zone. It crashes the client because the continent textures are not fully pasted in yet. The automated log in the center proves this map update was pushed under internal test build 1.60. Blizzard is physically redoing the boundaries of the oceans surrounding its continents to let us sail past the forbidding and storming seas straight to the standalone continent that is Project Camelot, Avaloran, in late 2026. In this slide, Zebek provides ultimate historical proof that Blizzard has been planning hidden continents for years. Here we can look at the BlizzCon transcripts, and here we see the community legend himself, Red Shirt Guy. He stepped up to the microphone and called out a massive flaw in the world map. He essentially pointed out that the southernmost zones of Kalimdor, the Eastern Kingdoms, and Pandaria are all tropical jungles and deserts. This means that our entire known world map is crowded directly around the planet's equator, leaving a massive empty hemisphere completely unmapped. So this is a pretty nerdy, pretty in-depth revelation. And when Red Shirt Guy asked if an entire second half of the planet exists to explore, Chris Metzen himself openly admitted that the developers argued about this exact issue in the Blizzard studio. He confirmed that more continents potentially exist and confessed that the globes inside Titan dungeons like Ulduar were just drawn to look cool rather than being an accurate global model, like a real map. Blizzard's core leadership openly agreed that the Titan maps aren't accurate and they can easily be rewritten. They have been holding the creative keys to build an entirely new hemisphere for like over 10 years. Chris Metzen himself. Look at his official BlizzCon speech on your screen. He asked point blank what the Titans have actually been doing and what the real purpose of their planetary installations are. This statement sets up the exact narrative foundation for the anti-Titan civilization of Avaloran that we uncovered in the internal database leaks. The center paragraph shows Metzen explicitly admitting that the writers are combining early, classic mythic concepts with newer, unresolved ideas. This explains exactly why current seasonal updates blend vanilla factions with modern references like the Arathi Empire, the Storming Sea, and the Hidden Fifth Old God.